Assalamu alaikum, welcome back viewers at home. About to have a very critical, quite interesting conversation as I am joined by three passionate students who are here to talk about, creating a more safer, equitable environment when it comes to all things surrounding their campus. And joining me from my left-hand side is Kilele, followed by Thabiso as well as Bokang, who are here to give us more insight and understanding to what we all know is a sad reality for many. And when we talk about gender-based violence, we all know of someone who's been directly impacted, if not indirectly. And I think it becomes more sadder when we look at the government officials not really taking it as serious as it affects us in terms of declaring gender-based violence a national disaster. Good evening, ladies and gents, and thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Now, we all are on social media. We've seen the protest, and I'm sure the comments that follow with it in terms of, really commending the spirit of unity, the spirit of courage, and just the spirit of going beyond self. And I think this makes me want to more so contextualize this conversation for those who are probably seeing it and still skipping it, because how many people still don't have their profile purple, right? And I think I'll start with you, Bokang, to please kindly give us the background to saying what led to this protest in particular.
Okay, I would like to start by saying that I would really appreciate it if people refrain from using the word protest and rather replace it with demonstration. Because I feel like the minute people hear protest, they think violence. We are very violent with everything that we're doing. But here, this movement is a student movement. We are doing this because the university is not hearing our cries. The background of it is that it circulated around that a student was sexually assaulted. And the student was sexually assaulted by someone that we know, someone that we have been seeing. So we were wondering, why is it that this person is still moving around so comfortably as if they didn't do anything? Because such information is not shared with the students. So most people did not know. That's how the conversation came about, and students started to wonder, what is it that is going on? And they decided to plan the demonstration, and we started to look for the person because we saw that the university was not taking it as seriously as it was, because even after we heard that the perpetrator had sexually assaulted someone, there were more people that came out that were saying they were manhandled by the person, they were threatened by the person, they were, stalked by the person. So it became a very serious issue, and multiple people were coming out. That's why we took it to the streets. Yes.
And with that coming to you, Thabiso, looking at the demonstration itself, and you can only imagine sometimes when you're taking it to the officials of the university, it can be taken as, very fluff to say, we'll look into it. But I think it's very jarring to seeing, as you mentioned, Bokang, this person is working unscathed, is working very much basically unbothered. Life is going on. And correct my facts, and I think it was quite disheartening to see on social media how the lady in question wrote out to say, I reported it and nothing has been taken to cause, and this person took my virginity. And I think we can look at certain elements of that text, and it's very heartbreaking. Like literally me talking about it, I'm literally shivering. And it brings me to ask to say, looking at the demands that were put forward, can you please walk us through the list of those demands, and how has the university responded upon you delivering that memorandum?
Thank you very much. So first of all, I'd like to just state it on record that I have been standing throughout this entire demonstration as a former student leader. So I'm actually an alumnus to the university. I graduated from the Faculty of Health Sciences last year.
Okay.
So this year, when I heard of the news that there is going to be a movement, I decided that since I'm around and I've got the means to show up to the movement and support it, so that's why I've been there. So I just want to state that on record, that I'm not a current student at the university. I graduated last year. Speaking about the demands, so when we met with the Dean of Student Affairs at the university, I was right there. And it was a group of students that came together that decided, it wasn't actually any group of students who were leading the protest. It was everyone in the crowd
Yeah.
that chipped in into creating this document called the Memorandum of Demands. It was a long list. It consisted of about 26 demands that we sent to the university. The university was given this demand this past Tuesday. 2 days later, the university then came out at around 11 a.m. On Thursday to then give their response. Well, how they gave their response was they grouped the demands. So, for instance, all the demands that were pertaining to the Gender and Equity Office were answered in one bunch.
Okay.
And then all of those demands that were sent with regard to the SRC were also answered in one go. So obviously, in the interest of time, there is no way I'll go through all 26, but some of the pertinent ones were we really need a general look into the policies of the Gender and Equity Office.
Okay.
Because yes, the university may say that we've created a link to make the booking system easier for students or the reporting system easier for students. But the reality is really on the ground. It's not on from an ideological perspective. Yes, we've done this great thing, but is it actually working? So some of the issues is that the university has institutions like the Gender and Equity Office, which aren't as effective as they would like them to be. For instance, they're poorly staffed and then they're poorly funded. So if you've got, for instance, 9 interns or 9 employees working at the Gender and Equity Office and they're dealing with a university of over 40,000 students, they're obviously going to be undercapacitated. So some of the demands have been, look into the policies of the Gender and Equity Office. Some of them, they ideologically sound good, that this is what is going to happen from a complainant point of view, but then the students say, I've laid a case like this and it ended up slipping through the cracks. One of the other demands is that you need to have a good vetting process for the student leaders. So when you're looking at house committees and residences, you're looking at the SRC, you're looking at student councils, you're looking at first year experience mentors or FYE mentors, you need to look deeper into the people that you allow to represent the students. So we actually demanded that you can't just say we're going to do a vetting. And by the way, the vetting at the moment, it seems like the university is saying, have you been found guilty of anything? If no, then we let it go. But one of our cries has been, if there's even an allegation against the person, that needs to be investigated until that person, before that person is allowed to step into a position of leadership. So make sure that you look at that vetting process, go deeper into it. You can't just pick somebody and then 10 months down the line, we found out, oh, the person actually went on social media and was homophobic, or went on social media, because the university has a social media policy. Go deeper into that and see into the person's life. Are they actually what they claim to be? Another demand has been, look at the Student Representative Council of the university, the SRC, because some of these allegations have been, targeted at some of these members of the SRC, right? Some have been for sexual harassment, some have been for sexual assaults, gender-based violence, rape, right? So some of these things have obviously been directed at SRC members. So look into those people, vet the entire, and I'm giving you the demands first. Look at the entire now body of the SRC, especially the people that have had allegations, mounted against their names. And then, so there's a long list, which I think has been circulated even among the student body that was part of the movement. One of the issues is that, one of the contentious issues that we've had is that the university, we got the idea that the university gave a general blanket approach, sort of a response. They were very generic in their response. I personally raised a point to say, we've raised issues about the policies of the GEO, the Gender and Equity Office, and what the university has come out to do is to give us a website-like response. They've just said, this is what the Gender and Equity Office does. This is how but we know all that information. Our concern is that it is not as effective as we want it to be, which is the conversation we really should be having. We're not saying on paper we disagree with the values of the GEO. What we want is for it to be effective. So those are some of the concerns. As it pertains to the Student Representative Council, the university has said we can't go and suspend everybody based off of one person's allegations, and again that caused some discomfort in the entire student body that was there on the day, because they said that, but how then do we trust the people that are to lead us? Because actually some of the things that are being said in the corridors is that the people that, all of these are allegations, of course. The people that were in the same Student Representative Council during election process knew about these allegations, but they decided to keep quiet. Again, this has not been proven, but I'm just telling you as it is, as it's being said, right, among the student body. Obviously, there's no way for us to prove it at the moment that these people knew. right?
Yeah.
That's where some of the concerns are coming, to say, please make sure that you look into the entire body.
I think it then boils down to say where there's smoke,
There's
there's
always
fire.
fire.
And I
Exactly.
think it shouldn't be just left as allegations
Yes.
and allowing things to progress or proceed in that sense. And I think coming to you, Kilele, is unfortunately we are running out of time, but I think it's important for me to ask to say, seeing and hearing what has been the response of the university and previously seeing what the environment is like, it makes me wonder to say, where to from here when it comes to the student-led movement, considering these are serious things. The idea of rape, the idea of gender-based violence, it's serious and it's something that's affecting, so many lives to a point that some have lost their lives because of this. Where to from here?
Thank you. So I think from here, as the student movement, we would like to sit down with some of the leaders of the school to talk about the way forward and to address that our demands have not been met accordingly, and we are not satisfied with the answers we have received. So we want to sit down and just revise and just review everything with them and try and get a different outcome this time around.
And with that, Bokang, ideally looking at campus life, what do you envision? Where we're looking at, student life, we're looking at, everything around the campus culture. I just want to find out from you, ideally speaking, what does the campus you envision looks like?
Okay. Both of them have already stated these points actually, like undercovered, but I will point them out. When we move from wherever, because we come from different provinces.
Yeah.
Some are national students. Coming to Wits, I'm not expecting to leave my house where I feel safe, to get to an environment that is saying they're keeping me safe, but they're not. The CCTV, which was one of the demands in the memorandum of demands, was that the CCTV footage or cameras on campus do not work, apparently. They're not serviced. So that means that should anything happen to me while I'm at school on campus, the university is going to say, we don't know because the CCTV footage is not working, which is the same thing that happened with this girl, because they were saying that they can't really track down the CCTV footage. That is not acceptable. We cannot accept that. When I come to Wits, I want a safe environment. This person that is being accused of this thing is an SRC member. These people are in the SRC. The SRC is responsible for welcoming first years into the university. Those are the people that the university is putting in the front line to welcome students. The whole time they're not keeping them safe. I'm not expecting that when I go to university. Next thing, parents are going to be scared to send their kids to get a higher education. And looking at the state, the people in South Africa and the university itself are not taking it seriously. So that needs to change. That is what we're thriving for right here. That's why we're saying the movement will not be silenced, and this is not going to be taken as just a trend.
Yeah.
We're going to continue until Wits actually hears us and gives us what we actually need.
And Thabiso, in closing, what can we do as, viewers watching tonight, myself included, in terms of contributing to, the movement and ensuring that, it gets to a point, like I saw the UJ students were literally blocking the roads, and I think this forces, some form of official to come down and say, we are listening. But also in that listening, there needs to be another enforcement where it's like, we see actionable, results, or seeing that we guys are taking us serious. What can we do and how can we contribute to the movement?
That is a brilliant question, and I think it's an opportunity for me to highlight that this is not a Wits issue. You've rightly mentioned in your intro that this is a nationwide issue, and for as long as we see it as a bunch of disgruntled students, there's no real change that's going to be affected. As long as we see it as a women issue, there's no real change that's going to be affected. At one of the gatherings, there was a student that came out and said, I really wish people understand that no matter how much we protest, things aren't going to change unless the individual themselves decides not to take part or not to impose their evil will on another human being. So what the public could do, I mean, there are some people that aren't really for going into the front lines, or marching in the streets, or demonstrating in the streets. Social media is a good tool. Educate the people around you, right? It's not just changing your profile picture to purple, but it's also educating people using your big platforms, no matter how big or small you think your platform is. Go onto your platform, educate people about this thing. Go into the communities, wherever you are. You can always make an impact from wherever you are. And another thing is that, again, to Bokang's point, we're not trying to make this a trend. We want it to reach national news. Currently, the country, the government is preparing to go into G20. Why are we continuing as if everything is normal? Why, when there was COVID, we declared a national shutdown, everything was it ceased to work, and But now, when human lives are being endangered because of other human beings, we want to say, no, it's fine. Let's go through G20 first, and then we'll deal out with our issues. It's because we're trying to sweep things under the carpet. We need to tackle gender-based violence and gender-based harm as the demon that it is, right? And declare it a national state of disaster, and not try to look through policies which currently aren't efficient, right? So each and every person can make a change. But I think the most powerful tool, or the most powerful way we can make a change, is if each individual becomes as sensitized to the issue as we all are. Do not commit gender-based. Do not impose your will on another human being. That's as easy as it can get. But understand that these things take time, and the public can just go on to educate one another and see the issue for what it truly is.
This is a conversation that needed more time for us to
Absolutely.
delve into, the important elements around it, and hopefully to enlighten other students who are still suffering in silence and who are still looking for an outlet. But unfortunately, I have to conclude our conversation. But once again, thank you so much for really taking out the time and, sharing this platform with me to share or rather speak on a very, very important and critical issue that is affecting all of us, whether we want or we don't want, or whether we feel like we are strong enough for it or not. But thank you for taking out the time and joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Viewers at home, those were my very, 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 inspiring, motivating. And I think this is where I realized that, you know what? It's all about being in spaces that are all about speaking change rather than, dreaming of the change. And those were my guests, who is Bokang, as well as Thabiso and Kilele, who were sharing in some of the hopes and the actions that they're putting on the ground in terms of seeing change be, something that they see within their campus, or not even just campus, nationally so. And they were speaking around the student-led movement, advocating for gender-based violence, where the environment is safe and more equitable in that sense. But viewers at home, this is where we close it off for now. Certainly check out the social media platforms and be alerted and be informed. But for now, let's head over to a net break. We'll see you just after this.